On June 26th of 2022, 24-year-old Dionne Christie, who was a mum of two and also 12 weeks pregnant at the time, she had plunged a blade into her boyfriend, Jevin Haig, after he had afforded her to live a comfortable lifestyle. As a family, herself and her boyfriend, Jevin Haig, were able to go on trips out, stay in hotels overnight, go to fancy restaurants. Her bills were paid for, along with holidays. Dionne Christie was a beautician and was described as a glam and self-obsessed and self-absorbed with her image and keeping up a flash appearance that could only be done with a sizable amount of cash flow. She did not care where the cash came from, whether it came from Jevin selling Class A and Class B, or if he had to get the money from his mom. So it was down to her boyfriend Jevin to use his burner phone, make hundreds of mass messages, and then sell Class A and Class B. And for a large period of time, Jevin Haig was making enough money to keep his family afloat. However, when you're a dealer and not at the top of the drug operation hierarchy, especially in Scotland, you have to contend with the fact that for every square mile, there are over 50 other dealers operating and selling the same thing as you. There's also gangsters and organised crime units that are too prepared to rob your stash, sell fake drug on a commercial scale, or worst case scenario, KU, if they think or believe that you are moving in on their territory. And of course, police investigations and Good Samaritans reporting you to the authority. The odds are stacked up against you, and you're always going to get caught. It's not a matter of if, but when. Again, Dionne Christie had taken her partner's 12-inch blade and then plunged it into his chest with enough force to kill him at a housing association flat in Falkirk, Scotland, after tempers had flared. What was described by Dionne's shrewd defence team as a tragedy for both families does not take away the fact that Dionne was known to be temperamental, aggressive and domineering, to the point that even after the mum of two had bladed the father of her child and she noticed red pouring from Jevin and his complexion turning to grey and dull as he was dying, what did Dionne do? Now, Dionne had waited several minutes before calling 999. Rather than call 999 actually, she asked a neighbour to call her mum, and to make matters worse, she then proceeded to fabricate a story in order to make Jevin seem like the bad guy. She says that Jevin had bladed himself. She told the operator, "He's been trying to start with me, he smashed all my house," and brought out a big blade, and he's got blade marks right in the chest. "It's while we've been like, he's been grabbing me and he had a blade in his pants. I don't know how I've done this." When the police and ambulance crew were blue lighted to the flat, Dionne Christie changed her stance, wiped her tears and sniffed back her sobs and said Jevin bladed himself. Doctors and ambulance crew worked on Jevin right there and then and tried to stem the flow, but he was pronounced dead just 45 minutes later. Now, the only issue with this and with Dionne Christie's story was Jevin's heart had been torn to ribbons and the injuries were classed as catastrophic. Now, Dionne Christie was also known to be violent herself. As a mum, one would assume that Dionne had known how to nurture, develop love, adoration, and all the traits necessary of being a mum capable of raising two children and a third one on the way. But Dionne was destructive, a wrecked force in her small frame. The court heard that Dionne had previously bladed Jevin in the leg. She also struck him in the face, gave him black eyes, and popped his nose. She also took a blade to his Canada Goose jackets and also shredded the clothes in bouts of rage. Now, Jevin Haig was no angel himself, but his activities did not warrant his M, and least of all by the woman that he loved. The young man had resigned himself to the fact that he was a dealer, and in order to protect his illegal business and himself, Jevin Haig allegedly had a blade that would never leave his side. The same blade that Dionne Christie says was in Jevin's pants at the time of the incident. Now, the jagged blade was his protection. He made his money by working as a drug dealer and for a period of time things for Jevin were manageable. However, he and Dionne often clashed when money dried up, and in order to keep Dionne happy and in MAC makeup and branded clothes and the hotels like Radisson and Ramada, Jevin would regularly contact his mom, Karen Mearns, and ask for money. It would start off with small amounts, £20 here, £30 there. Then the number increased drastically to £300. Sometimes Jevin would go back to his mum the same day and ask for a further £200. Jevin mostly requested the money to be transferred into Dionne's account too. Jevin's mum says that at a point, Jevin was asking money every day. Now, a few days before his text messages disclosed showed that he and Dionne were bickering over what was described as bad deals. Jevin told Dionne the money was gone. Now, in the immediate aftermath of Jevin being bladed, Dionne had gone to the communal stairs and asked the neighbour to call her mum. Now, Dionne downplayed the brutal and egregious on the 26th of June of 2022. Dionne told the neighbour that her friend had been hurt but didn't need an ambulance and how her mum worked in a hospital. However, Dionne's mum was a cleaner on the cardiology department. She had no emergency care experience, so what good would it be to call Dionne's mum? The receipts showed that Dionne did not care if her boyfriend lived or died. She was only after the money. When Dionne Christie was arrested and taken into the police station, in order for questioning, Dionne gave a statement to the police. Now, Dionne had claimed in a red-hot rage Jevin had put the blade to her stomach and promised to remove their unborn baby. Dionne, crying, was so scared, so afraid, so terrified for her life, but she had to protect the unborn kid. With all the strength her will allowed, Dionne thrust backward, attempted to wrestle the blade from her boyfriend, and in that struggle, somehow, Jevin became his own casualty as the blade touched his skin and pierced his heart. Really, we all know the motive for the according to the prosecution, was because the money had dried up. What was described as a crime-funded lifestyle, which has seen Jevin Haig buying clothes and shoes for Dionne and paying for nights away to a hotel, again, would be no more. In a text message conversation the day before he was Jevin Haig told Dionne Christie he was losing out on deals and suggested that they should stay in because a hotel they discussed was going to be expensive. However, the word that Jevin used was dead. Now, Christie texts back saying, "You know what's dead? You." Now, she told the court that the message had not been about the intention to K him, but pointed out the context, and the pair had gone on to chat and joke and laugh about an Instagram story on Dionne Christie's social media. Furthermore, while on trial for the of her boyfriend, Dionne whined and sulked and started to talk about the hardest years of her life and keeping a dignified silence. However, while she was on trial, she was still going abroad. She had gone to Paris and enjoyed other holidays. Ultimately, Dionne Christie was found guilty of culpable homicide by a vast majority verdict. She was then remanded in custody until sentencing, where the judge explained that sentencing is highly likely, and in the aftermath, both families were said to have cried. Jevin's family didn't care that, again, she wasn't convicted of the but culpable homicide, because all they was interested in is making sure that the right person was responsible and they would get some justice for their son, brother, uncle, nephew. Condolences. Stay safe. Safe.